Hello, this is Kyle Scrimsher for Business Communications, CO 102 with Dr. Daniel Smith. This is my week 5 presentation. I chose to write over writing your resume. So one of the important things about writing your resume is to keep your resume honest. In a study done on a group of resumes, they have discovered that more than 40% of the resumes tested actually contain lies or false information within them. That also included false diplomas listed. Some members went as far as hiring hackers to falsify graduation records to show graduation. And then a lot of them included some phony employment history and or phony employment verification. One thing to keep in mind with this is that recruiters often identify those fraudulent applications as they frequently come across their desks. Some of the ways they do so is by conducting background checks. Other ways are to craft specific interview questions during the interviewing process to help uncover any kind of inconsistencies between the resume and the applicant's work history and knowledge. One thing to really consider when you're maintaining honesty in your resume is that even if you do decide to lie on your resume and it makes it past the review stages, even after you're hired, sometimes you can't always fake the funk, and eventually employers tend to catch on to this and identify that maybe you weren't so honest on your resume from the get-go. So after this, one thing to consider while writing this resume is to also adapt to your audience. A lot of the times this means tweaking a lot of words or tweaking some of your work experience to show relative experience. With this, you want to make sure that that you're always keeping in mind that good fits equal a higher success rate. So those employers are really looking for candidates or resumes that have relative experience to the job opening. One thing to make sure that you're relevant is to alter your word choice to make sure that your resume is meeting the minimum criteria listed in the job description, but also to kind of focus on utilizing and identifying the key words within the job description that you can place or replace with other words in your resume to help bypass any kind of filtering that may be done electronically prior to a manual review. For military members, it is very important to keep in mind that there is a difference between military experience and civilian experience, and a lot of the times it doesn't translate as well. So key things to keep in mind if you're writing military experience on your resume is to refrain from using any types of military terms or jargon or acronyms that may kind of deter the applicant or confuse the applicant while reading. One of the key things to keep in mind too is to translate your military experience over to something understandable and legible on the civilian employment sector. A lot of the times this involves digging deep into your specific tasks that you were performing within your military position and finding a way to tie that into civilian employment, such as warehousing operations, for instance, or record and data management could be another aspect. So once you've decided to adapt that resume, you've cleaned it up and you've made sure that all the information on it is accurate, you really want to go to begin composing your resume. Things to keep in mind while you're writing is to keep a simple, direct style containing short phrases that are easily readable. A lot of the times those employers don't like reading long paragraphs. They're more like it in almost a bullet style format where they can read your experience and your accomplishments quickly and easily. Another thing is to refrain from making it more of a personal first person basis, so you want to avoid using I or me. Um, a lot of times you want to keep it more of a generic, just sticking with action words. Which brings to the next point, is to utilize strong action words, such as um, coordinated or achieved or recommended or advised is another good one that you could throw into your resume. Kind of helps add a dynamic of professionalism and expertise, and makes your resume pop out more than simple basic terms or statements without these kind of popping terms included. So, as far as writing a resume, that simply wraps it up. I'd say from a personal standpoint, a lot of this is stuff that I've kind of dealt with over the years, especially with military experience, being able to transition that over to something understandable. As an ammunition technician, majority of my job description doesn't necessarily apply directly to a broad civilian market. However, a lot of the functions within that job, such as warehousing, data management, logistics, coordination, a lot of that does. So I really had to focus in on my experiences and figure out ways to tie what I do in the Marine Corps over to civilian employments, which actually helped me land my current job in logistics and being able to transpose that experience over. So it helped out. It worked out great for me, really identifying, utilizing those impact words, and being able to successfully transmit my experience from the military over to the civilian sector. So other than that, that wraps it up. I appreciate your time and look forward to looking at everybody else's presentations. Thank you.